Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
In the last class, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
And I am audible properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, the last class we discussed about air circuit breaker. Oh, it's a problem. One minute. So, in the last class, we have actually discussed about air circuit breaker and oil circuit breaker. There is air plane circuit breaker and air blast circuit breaker. And the types of circuit breakers depending upon the direction of that arc developed, okay, or the direction of the how the quenching medium is introduced. It has been classified. And so these things actually, what is axial flow, radial flow, cross blast, everything we have described. And then we have discussed oil circuit breaker, bulk oil circuit breaker, all the divisions in bulk oil circuit breaker, all the three divisions in bulk oil circuit breaker, and also about the minimum oil circuit breaker. The advantages, disadvantages, and everything we have discussed. Okay. So actually our last topic was oil circuit breaker. Now, the remaining are the SF6 circuit breaker and the vacuum circuit breaker. So as I told you, for all circuit breakers, the basic theory is same, only the arcing medium is different. Now in SF6 circuit breaker, you know, SF6 gas is it is called electron scavenger, okay, because the molecule of electronegative gas, especially SF6, has the ability to attract and hold free electrons and form negative ions. Okay, so it can hold free electrons, and the neutral atom can attract free electrons, and it is converted into negative ion. So this is the property of the all electronegative gases. And the negative ions being heavy, because it is carrying additional electrons, so it is being heavy and immobile, they cannot flow easily. Hence the direct, hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, actually the sorry. The negative ions being heavy and practically immovable, they do not flow easily. So you know, if they cannot flow easily, so that the chance for creating more ions, that will become less, and so the extinction of arc will be easier. No collision will occur. That you have we have discussed about elastic collision, non-elastic collision. Those things will not happen. Now, SF6 circuit breaker, used in all applications. It can be used up to 800 kV. So what are the advantages? It is excellent gaseous dielectric medium. You may find some sentences are wrongly written here. Please ignore them. The basic things are correctly written. Under similar conditions, it has more than twice. Actually, you will find some grammatical mistakes. Okay, not the technical mistake. Under similar conditions, it has more than twice the dielectric strength of air, and at 3 atmospheres of absolute pressure, it has same dielectric strength as oil. So it is excellent dielectric medium. So efficient electron scavenger due to electronegativity, promotes rapid recovery of dielectric strength because whatever free electrons will be there, it will attract in the arcing medium. Because of low dielectric temperature and high dissociative energy, SF6 is an excellent arc quenching medium. Okay. It retains most of its dielectric properties when mixed with air or nitrogen. So even if it gets mixed up with air or nitrogen, its dielectric property remains same. So other advantages are due to electronegativity of the gas. The arc time constant of SF6 is considerably shorter. Arc time constant is the time between the current zero and when the dielectric medium has fully developed, that means conductance reaches the zero value. For SF6, the time taken is only 0.1 microsecond, while for air it is greater than 10 microsecond. Now it is just comparison. From the comparative assessment only you will be able to understand about the advantages. Rate of rise of dielectric strength is very high, so it is suitable for switching condition involving high recovery, transient recovering voltage. It is one of the heaviest known gases. Okay, so its velocity, its sonic velocity is 136 meter per second, which is about 1/3 of air. Okay, the velocity of air is around 330 or like that, so it is about 130, 136. And as it is very heavy, just now I told that it is a very heavy gas. Now superior heat transfer capabilities than air. It is a good insulating medium. It is chemically very stable, and it is non-inflammable, non-corrosive, non-poisonous, colorless and odorless gas. So current interruption phenomena, the basic principle we have already discussed while discussing about the general principles of circuit breaker. So majority of the current is carried by the hottest region of the arc's core, which is located close to the central axis. Okay, so it is just like this. Here at the core, the temperature is maximum maybe 6000 Kelvin. Okay, and at when the current becomes zero, it decreases. Say if this is 3000, it will be almost 2000 or like that. So, because an increase in temperature corresponds to an increase in electrical conductivity. Once full ionization is attained, further decrease in current do not increase in temperature. And as the current approaches zero, the temperature about the core of the arc begins to drop, and consequently the region starts losing conductivity. Okay, the temperature drops with the current and it loses the conductivity. Now, again the advantages, the peak thermal conductivity of SF6 occurs around 2000 degree Kelvin. Therefore, near current zero, this is the temperature near current zero I showed you from the graph. Therefore, near current zero, when rapid cooling is needed for interruption, SF6 is extremely effective because at this temperature, electrical conductivity is very low. At high currents, the thermal conductivity of SF6 is not much different from that of other gases. Therefore, arc cooling process in that region is not much difference from other gases. Okay. SF6 is more efficient cooler at lower temperature near current zero and capable of withstanding higher recovery voltage. The temperature for maximum thermal conductivity is 6000 for air, while that of for SF6, which is 2000 degree Kelvin. Now these are the different parts of SF6 circuit breaker. You go through any book and see the diagram and find out these parts. One is tank. Tank is required because it is an essential part of a circuit breaker. And interrupter unit, it is one interrupter unit will be there. You have discussed the interrupter unit in MOCB, minimum circuit breaker. Okay, unlike bulk oil circuit breaker, the whole thing cannot, the whole oil is interrupting. Here, interrupter unit is there specially because there are some disadvantages also that we will discuss. So SF6 gas flow is very small for producing pressure for arc extension. the pressure required is 1/3 to half required for gas, because SF6 is introduced for arc interruption and from the compressor at high pressure. Okay, the pressure required for SF6 is 14 kg per centimeter square. Thus, reduced mechanical energy is required for operation. So, the main reservoir will have that gas at high pressure of 14 kg per centimeter square, and of course, blast valve and control mechanism should be there to flow the gas in and out. Piping of the gas under pressure, axial flow interrupter units are there, because you know axial flow, what is axial flow, radial flow. Tripping spring coils are there, and bushing is there. And this is the figure of SF6 circuit breaker. So figure is not very complicated. You please practice drawing the figure. You may be asked to describe SF6 with the help of diagram. So you can understand here the SF6 gas is introduced, and here it is the fixed contact, it is the moving contact, it gets separated, and here the arc is generated. Okay, so it is not very complicated figure. And this is the actually from the high pressure, P1 is the high pressure region. From the high pressure region, the gas is flowing through this nozzle, and it is going to the low pressure region. So what is the operating mechanism? The tripping spring, it is actuated by the spring action. The tripping spring drives the moving contacts and simultaneously opens the valve of the pressure reservoir. Whenever there is fault, the circuit breaker receives signal, the trip coil is energized, and as soon as the moving contact starts separating from the fixed contact, the valve opens, and the SF6 at high pressure is introduced. The gas under pressure flows into the braking chambers and extinguishes the arc. And as I have told you, at reservoir, SF6 is kept as 14 kg per centimeter square. During arc extinction, the gas from high pressure chamber is admitted to the low pressure chamber by opening a valve. I showed you in the figure, it is flowing from high pressure to low pressure chamber. At the end of the operation, the mechanism releases the valve of the pressure chamber, which is then closed by the action of a set of spring. Okay. So when the arc is fully extinguished, the valve is again closed. The arc is extinguished and the gas prevents restriking the arc. The compressor pumps back the excess SF6 gas from the low pressure chamber back to the high pressure chamber. Because the gas was flowing from the reservoir to the high pressure chamber, then to the low pressure chamber. If the gas is excess, it is again drawn back from that low pressure chamber to the high pressure chamber to the reservoir. The operating mechanisms are pneumatic or electrohydraulic. Now, gas system, a compressor sends the gas back after each break to the high pressure chamber. An auxiliary reservoir of SF6 at 14 kg per centimeter square is located. The original design SF6 circuit breaker was an adaptation of the air blast and all circuit breaker designs. Axial blast is approached. Okay. In air blast circuit breaker also you have seen, air is introduced, one reservoir is there. Now what is the problem of this SF6? Though it is excellent arc quenching medium, the main problem is the liquefaction problem. Okay, because it is acting at two different pressures. The gas is liquefied at certain low temperature. Liquefaction temperature increases with pressure. Okay, at 1.7 megapascal, the gas will begin to liquefy at a temperature of approximately 13 degrees Celsius. So in order that the gas, of course, if it becomes, it liquefies, then there will be problem. It won't be able to act as a dielectric medium. So to prevent liquefaction and constant drop of gas density, electric heaters are installed. Needs to be installed in the high pressure chamber reservoir. Now liquefaction of SF6 not only lowers the dielectric capability of the gas, but it can lead to another problem known as moisture pumping. Okay, because this may happen because of the difference in the condensation points between air and SF6. This difference in the condensation point, because air is outside, if SF6 is inside. So if liquefaction of SF6 occurs, then there will be problem of moisture pumping. So what are the disadvantages?
Ma'am, what is moisture pumping?
Hello? Because the
Ma'am, what is
moisture pumping means moisture will be introduced into the arcing medium. Okay, so you know moisture, it deteriorates the dielectric strength of the gas as it deteriorates the dielectric strength of oil also. Okay. So,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
oil is hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means it can absorb moisture. Here also, normally moisture will not be formed, but whenever there is difference in temperature, then and liquefaction occurs, then what, you know, in a glass of water, if it is very cold, can get droplets of water outside, isn't it? So that difference
Yes,
of
ma'am.
temperature may cause condensation. Okay, and so moisture may be introduced in the chamber. So high volume of gas is needed. Disadvantage are high volume of SF6 is required. Okay, so that it can attract all the electrons from the medium. The tendency for leak rates due to higher operating pressure. Of course, if the operating pressure is higher, the tendency of leakage will be there. You have to be very cautious. The complexity that results from the use of the blast valves, because valves should operate in time. Whenever the moving coil separates, at that instant only valve should open. Otherwise, there will be no arc quenching. Okay. So these things are to be taken care of. Okay, this is all about SF6 circuit breaker. And as I told you that only going through the slide, you won't be able to get the full idea of SF6 circuit breaker. Also, I don't think it's a very good idea to describe all the parts in details, because if you go through any book, you'll be able to understand. Okay. So you please go through the book to understand, to get all the descriptions of different parts. Now, vacuum circuit breaker. Okay, vacuum circuit breaker is completely different from other circuit breakers. Why? Because as the name suggests, it is vacuum. Okay, so vacuum circuit breakers take the advantage of exceptional dielectric characteristics and diffusion capabilities of the medium. In all other circuit breakers like oil, SF6, air, the medium is gas or oil. Okay, but in vacuum circuit breaker, how the arc will be established? The the arc in this vacuum circuit breaker results from ions and electrons emitted from the electrodes themselves. Okay, cathode and anode. Okay, and in all other circuit breakers, they are emitted from the medium present, but here there is no medium, so they are emitted from the electrodes. As the current carrying contacts are separated, what happens when the current carrying contacts are separated? Then the cathode spots are formed depending upon the current to be interrupted. Okay, current carrying contact separated means the moving contact gets separated from the fixed contact. What happens? Cathode spots are formed depending upon the current to be interrupted. Why I told you depending upon the current to be interrupted? Because I will discuss the different types of spots formed on the cathode surface. For low currents, highly mobile cathode spot is formed. Okay, the spots that are formed on the cathode, they are mobile. They will shift their position. And for large currents, the cathode spot is a fixed. These spots constitute the main source of vapor in the arc, because all the ions and electrons are emitted not from the whole surface. It is emitted from the fixed points. Okay, those spots, those are called spots. The processes involved in drawing the arc will be due to the high electric field between the contacts, and the cathode surface are not perfectly smooth. Okay, they have some micro projections, and when the contacts are separating, the current flowing in the circuit will be concentrated in these projections as they form the point of contact. So from the cathode surface is not very smooth. This you will find in any book. Cathode surface is not smooth. They have some micro projections which is not visible from our by our naked eyes. So the emission will be from those projections. Okay. Due to their small area of projection, those projections will suffer explosive evaporation, and in vacuum circuit breaker, the emission occurs only at the cathode spots, okay, and not from the entire surface of the cathode. I told you, not from the emission does not take place uniformly throughout the surface, but only from some fixed spots, okay. And vacuum arc is also known as cold cathode arc. Now, so absence of inelastic collision, the collisions will not be there, and this diffused mode, constricted mode will come because the arc can be of two types. One is diffused mode, another is constricted mode. Okay, what is diffused and what is constricted mode? The diffused mode is characterized by a multitude of fast moving cathode spots. Okay, let's see the figure, you'll be able to understand. See, this is the diffused mode. You can see these spots are fixed. These are moving spots. They move throughout the surface of the cathode, but only at some points. It is not like that throughout the whole surface the spots will be formed. Okay, and at low currents, this type of diffused mode occurs and diffused arc occurs. But for high current, the cathode is these cannot move throughout the surface of the cathode, but it gets concentrated at some point, and this is called constricted arc. It occurs when the current is high. So what is the diffused mode? It is characterized by a multitude of fast moving cathode spots. The magnitude of the current being carried by each of the cathode spots is a function of the contact material. Okay, it will, because the selection of the contact material in vacuum circuit breaker is very important. Okay, so you cannot use any contact material. That we'll discuss also. Now, higher current densities are observed in refractory materials such as tungsten, graphite, copper can be used and as contact materials, but nowadays mostly the alloys are used. Okay, so lower currents correspond to materials having low boiling point such as copper. You have to study the characteristics of different types of materials used for the contact surface. Okay, that some slides I have. Okay, when the current is increased beyond a certain limit, one of the roots of the arc gets concentrated. Okay, it is the continuation. Gets concentrated into a single spot at the anode, while the cathode spots split to form a closely knit group of highly mobile spots that we have seen from the figure. If the cathode spots are not influenced by external magnetic fields, they move randomly around the entire contact surface at very high speeds. Okay, so those spots are not fixed. The current is increased further. When the current is increased, a single spot appears at the electrodes, as large currents greatly increase the collision energy of the electrons. So at large currents, they ultimately form a single spot. And so metal atoms, I have told you, it is emitted from the contact surface. Now the constricted mode, actually we have discussed that diffused mode. This is the diffused mode. Now constricted mode, I told you it happens at higher temperature. So the transition from a diffuse arc to a constricted arc mode takes place at a current threshold value which is around 15 kiloampere. So diffused arc generally occur at a current below 15 ampere. Therefore, in some AC circuit breaker applications, it is possible for the arc to change from diffuse mode to a constricted mode as the current approaches its peak value. So when if initially say it is in the diffused mode, and if the current increases, then it reaches the peak value, then it may transform through the constricted mode. Again, when the current decreases from this peak value, it is again transformed into the diffuse mode. So it is possible that both diffuse mode and constricted mode is present in the same arc formation. So it thus follows that longer the period the arc is in diffused mode, the greater is the interrupting capability. So if the diffuse mode is there, arc extinction will be easier. If the arc is in constricted mode, arc extinction will be somewhat difficult. Okay. Now current interruption. At the time of contact separation, a molten metal bridge appears across the contacts. Metal vapors are produced and arc transforms into constricted mode with increase in current. Okay, because it is the metal vapors, they act as the medium between the moving contact and the fixed contact. They are emitted from the contact surfaces, electrodes. After the rupture of the bridge, a diffused arc is formed. For successful arc interruption, it is required to minimize the contact heating and maximize the duration during which arc remains in diffused mode. Okay, it will be advantageous if the arc remains in diffused mode. So this can be happened, or this can be accomplished by interaction between current flowing through the arc and magnetic field produced by current flowing through the contacts or through a coil. So the magnet you have seen in air circuit breaker magnetic blowout coil. Here also a coil is assembled as an integral part of the interrupter, so that the magnetic field is produced by the current flowing through the coil, and it helps to maintain the arc in diffused mode. Okay. So depending upon the method used, the magnetic field may act in transverse or in the axial direction with respect to the arc. Now, contradicting requirements are imposed upon the possible choices of materials. So, if both this material having high vapor pressure and low vapor pressure, both have advantages and disadvantages. Okay, a material that should be selected that should have medium vapor pressure. A low vapor pressure means that the interrupter is more likely to chop the currents. Chopping phenomena of current. So instead of before the current reaches its natural zero, the current is forcefully made zero if the vapor pressure is low. If the vapor pressure is high, then it will be very difficult to interrupt the arc, because sufficient amount of vapor will remain at current zero. Okay, so both high and low vapor pressure will create the problem. Good electrical conductivity is required for continuous operation at minimum loss. High thermal conductivity is desirable in order to reduce the temperature of the contacts and for obtaining rapid cooling. A material that has low weld strength is needed because contacts in vacuum will invariably weld due to pre-arcing that occurs when closing, or to the localized heating of the microcontact areas when the short circuit current flows through the closed contact. What happens to the weld strength should be low. That means there must be ease of that the electrons that are rejected from the surface only. Okay, if the weld is very tight, then they cannot be fractured easily. Okay, to facilitate the opening of the contacts, easily fractured weld are a basic necessity. Okay, so this is the material having low weld strength will be there, so that the contacts in vacuum they will invariably weld together, but they can be they can be easily fractured. Now, what are the materials used? Okay, materials with low gas content and ease of outgassing are desirable, since the contacts must be substantially gas free to avoid the release of any gases from the contacts during interruption, and thus to prevent lowering the quality of the vacuum ambient. Okay, that means if the gas is formed, then the vacuum will no longer be there. Material with low thermionic emission is desirable to prevent the cathode from being good supplier of electrons. Okay, if it is good supplier of electrons, then it will be difficult to extinguish the arc. Good dielectric properties to assure rapid recovery. Of course, the dielectric properties should be very good. So there are no pure materials that can meet all the requirements. So some materials like tungsten, copper, they have some properties for being used as electrodes in vacuum circuit breaker. But nowadays the alloys are used like copper bismuth, copper chrome, etc. Okay. So some properties are given here. You go through any book and you may be asked to write a short note on the materials used for this vacuum circuit breaker. Okay. Now vacuum interrupter. Okay. I told you the basic concept of interruption of arc in vacuum circuit breaker, which is a little bit different. So there is an interrupter which consists of ceramic insulating envelope that is sealed at both ends by metallic plates. The operating pressure inside is 10 to the power minus 6 to 10 to the power minus 8 torr. You can understand normal atmospheric pressure is 760 torr. So the operating pressure is so low. Attached to one end of the plate of the stationary contact, to one end of the plate, stationary contact is attached, while at the other end, the moving contact is attached by metallic bellows. Okay. A metal vapor condensation shield. Now this is provided. Metal vapor condensation shield is located surrounding the contacts, either inside the ceramic cylinder or in series between two sections of the insulating container. You will find this one if you go through the diagram. So condensation, some condensation shields are provided in vacuum circuit breaker, because if the condensation occurs inside the interrupter, there will be problem. The purpose of the shield is to provide a surface while the metal vapor condenses, thus protecting the inside walls of the insulating cylinder so that they do not become conductive by virtue of the condensed metal vapor. Okay. So this precaution is taken. Another shield is provided to protect the bellows from the condensing vapor to avoid the possibility of mechanical damage. So one shield is provided so that the metal vapor may be condensed on it. Another shield is provided to protect the bellows from the condensing vapor. And a third shield is provided to reduce the dielectric strength of the medium. So 3 shields are provided, and the purpose of each shield is different. Now, why this vacuum circuit breaker, why we call the arc interrupting strength of vacuum circuit breaker is much better? Because for vacuum circuit breaker, the rate of rise of dielectric strength is about 1 kV per microsecond. See, the dielectric strength is rate of rise of dielectric strength. So in 1 microsecond, it can develop 1 kilovolt compared to 50 volts only per microsecond for air and 400 volts for SF6. This makes vacuum circuit breakers highly suitable for repeated operation in quick succession. If the price becomes comparable, because you can understand the price is very high, then it is worth using this circuit breaker. Maximum contact separation is of 5 to 10 millimeter, which becomes sufficient for even 66 kV breakers. Okay, contact separation means distance between moving contact and fixed contact. Vacuum circuit breakers are mainly used from 5 to 38 kV applications. So long operational life without maintenance. Now, what are the different parts that you go through the figure and find out? The enclosure, end flanges, contacts are there. The magnetic field set up by the components of current with the contacts have a special geometry made of large stem with large disc-shaped faces. Okay, the contacts have disc-shaped faces. The disc is provided symmetrical grooves in such a way that the segments of the two contacts are not in the same line. This special configuration is there to because it causes the plasma of the arc to move rapidly over the contacts instead of remaining stable at one point. Okay, the magnetic field set up by the components of currents with such a geometry means that this shaped faces, symmetrical grooves like that. So it causes the plasma of the arc to move rapidly over the contacts. That means diffused arc, to create the diffused arc, not constricted arc, instead of remaining stable at one point. The concentration of the arc is thus prevented and arc remains in the diffused state. So this is the figure. Okay, you will get much clear picture in any book. So all the parts are shown here. And vapor condensing shield, it is used to prevent condensation of vapor at the insulating enclosure. Metallic bellows are there. One end is welded to the metal flange and the other end is welded to or connected to the moving contact. Okay. So stainless steel bellows are used. Bellows are protected by shield. Design of the bellows is a practical important because it is because it is connected to the moving contact and it is moving always under when the fault occurs. So operating mechanism, the lower end is fixed to a spring operated or solenoid operated mechanism, so that metallic bellows, lower end, you can understand that metallic bellows, they are kept in the lower part of the what is the bellows? Yeah, metallic bellows in the lower part. Okay. So when the moving contact separates, this will again move. The metallic bellows also will move. And the lower end is fixed with a spring operated or solenoid operated mechanism, so that the metallic bellows inside the chamber are moved upward and downward during closing and opening operations respectively. So you have to carefully design the bellows. Okay, this is all about vacuum circuit breaker. Okay, the questions that normally comes from the vacuum circuit breaker is how the vacuum arc is different from the arc developed in other circuit breakers, or the principle of operation of vacuum circuit breaker, and the materials which are used, what should be the desirable properties of the materials used for vacuum circuit breaker, and what are the materials used. Okay, these are the normal questions. Now, these all are about AC circuit breakers because arc is interrupted when the current is 0. But in DC circuit breaker, actually, DC circuit breaker, I have only 2 slides because this is still not under very developed condition, because here also the arc is interrupted at current 0. But how the current 0 is reached for DC? By some artificial means, because DC current is like this, so no natural 0 unlike AC current. So what will happen? The current must be decreased to 0, that is forcing the current passage through 0 to guarantee arc extinction. Okay, so how the current 0 is created? Normally the current 0 is not there, it is created by switching the device by using a switching device that develops arc voltage significantly in excess of the system voltage, creation of a virtual current zero by producing a counter current from auxiliary communication circuit. Okay, that means we have to use LC circuit, and that will only come into the picture when the fault has occurred, when the moving coil has separated from the fixed part. Okay, this counter current is usually provided by a capacitor bank. One figure, this is just a hand-drawn figure. See, this is the contact separation. Okay. Now, initially, let us consider that the current, because this is positive, this is negative DC quantity, ID is the current flowing through this one. So, ID is DC and DC current. So, there will be no natural zero. And this auxiliary circuit is arranged. What is this auxiliary circuit? Two auxiliary contacts are there, S1 and S2. Initially, this S1 is open. Okay, this is open, so full voltage will be developed here. And what happens? These are connected to the source. This S2Cl, this is closed. S2, this contact is closed. So see, this capacitor is charged to its full voltage, isn't it? The voltage is applied. So capacitor is charged to its full voltage because these contacts are in contact. So one point connected here, another point of C is connected here. So full voltage is developed across the capacitor. Okay. So under normal conditions, main contact is a main contact M. This is called the charging contact because it is connected with C under normal operation. These are in series. Okay, because this is open. So the charging contact M and will remain closed, and capacitor C is charged to line voltage through this resistance R. It is charged. For interrupting main circuit current ID, when you need to interrupt this ID, then what happens? This contact S1 is closed and this contact S2 is open. And of course, this will get separated. So what happens? The current that is flowing through here will flow through this circuit. This is now closed, this is open. Okay, so the arc is developed here. So it will flow like this. Okay, so you are having one LC circuit. Can you understand? Initially, the current was going directly like this. It cannot flow through here because C has developed the full voltage. So no current will be flowing here. All the current will be flowing in this direction. As soon as the arc is formed, this S1 gets closed. This is getting open. So C will start discharging through this contact S. So you can understand one natural zero is possible to reach. So this initiates discharge of capacitor C through inductance L, main contacts M, and this contact S1, setting up an oscillatory current because it is simply LC circuit. Okay. Thus, the artificial current zero is created and circuit breaker main contacts are opened at current zero. Okay, the arc is extinguished as current at current zero. So, here it is how the artificial current zero is created in DC circuit breaker. Okay, and another slide is there here for under what condition this current limiting and arcing interrupting techniques or current limiting device is produced. Here you can see that one ALCR is connected. So current limiting device is connected in series with the line and offer low impedance to the load current because fault current will be very high, load current will not be very high, and high impedance to the fault current. Whenever fault current flows, if the impedance provided is very high, the interrupter is connected in series in order to interrupt the limited current. Okay, and so you can understand that Vs equal to this voltage plus this voltage plus this voltage developed across the circuit breaker. So if the voltage across L is L di-dt and that is equal to this one, so the arc will be extinguished. The guarantee to guarantee arc extinction, it is necessary that di-dt equal to is less than 0. For that, this Vs should be less than this value. Okay. So this is only the general concept that how arc extinction is possible in DC circuit breaker. You won't be getting any question like that, describe the operation of DC circuit breaker like that. It may be asked what is the principle of arc interruption in DC circuit breaker. Okay. So this is all about the circuit breakers. And one thing that you study from any book, also you can study from the internet, also the information is provided. You prepare on short note of maximum 5 to 6 marks on grounding transformer. I don't know whether you have studied about that earthing transformer or grounding transformer. You know that when normally the neutral or start point is available, but when in delta connection there is no such point available, and we have to create artificial that ground point by using a transformer. Okay, that neutral or star point we have to get by using a transformer, and that transformer, zigzag transformer, is commonly used. That is called the grounding transformer. Okay, so you can prepare the short note from on that grounding transformer from any book, because it is also related to the protection of the equipments. Okay, so this is all about the circuit breakers. And hello, anybody is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you please. Okay, thank you. So this is the end of the syllabus. Okay, so I won't be taking any more class. You go through the books, go through my class notes, and if you find any problem, you can ask me. I will be ready to take extra class for clearing your confusions.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I've taken the attendance. Let me call out the names. You need not respond, but if anyone's name is not called, please tell me. Anish, Pavan, Prabhuda, Shreya, this is Pooja, Rahul, Deepan, Shugato, Rohit, Spondan, Shomodip, Shubhamoy, Ashish, Rajesh, Priyangshu, Akhil, Anirban, Shumanto, Faizan, Amisha, Saurabh, Rishabh, Ravi, Jayanta, Avinash. Anybody else present? I think no.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then thank you. Best of luck. Please read. Okay.
Yes,
Exam
ma'am.
may be online or offline, but you have to retain everything. Unless you read and understand, you will definitely will suffer later. Okay.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, have you taken my attendance?
What is your name?
Ashish 1108.
Ashish. No, I
Yes, ma'am.
have not. Probably not. Okay, Ashish. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.